What's going on, everyone? Chase with Shinify here, and today I want to give you a complete guide on GSA website contact so that you can start sending millions of messages with bots. And I'm going to give you a ton of information today. I'm going to give you a bunch of links below this video in the description so that you can follow along, resources, different things that you can use to make the process of using this tool easier. And I'm also going to give you all of the links to the tool and to things that you can use with the tool, like the CAPTCHA breaker, again, in the description of this video. It also helps out the channel when you use those links because I do have an affiliate for them. But regardless of the affiliate, this tool is amazing and I use it all the time. And the affiliate's actually not that big of an affiliate. I think it's like 20%. Anyways, let's talk about this tool, what it is, and then let's go into how to get started with it. So right now you can see I'm sending out messages with it. We're using this project here, project 14, to send out thousands and thousands and even millions of messages. Actually, this has about 415,000 scheduled to send. And we're using this tool to send messages through a website's contact form. So all of these different sites here, 415,000, those are all websites with contact forms. And the way the tool works is it's sending messages by entering in data that we're going to be specifying within our projects. And so we can enter in whatever we want. We can enter in different names. We can enter in different emails. We can enter in different messages, and we can submit thousands and thousands and even millions of messages through website contact forms, and we can get a ton of leads with these messages as well. All right, so that's what GSA is. Let's talk about the basics to the tool, okay? So let's just talk about getting the tool set up and running. You have a few different options when it comes to setting up and running this tool. You can either run it on a server like I'm running here. This is a remote desktop in another location in Los Angeles. You can also run this on your own computer though. Just know that when you run this on your own computer instead of a server, you can see I have a bunch of servers set up here. I connect to them with the remote desktop connection on Windows. You can also use Mac for this, but just know when you use it on your main computer, it's going to take up resources and you probably won't be able to use your actual computer. For example, if I was running this tool on my actual computer right now, I probably wouldn't be able to record this video because it'd be taking up a lot of resources. So I connect to a different computer in a different location to be able to run the tool. And I'm going to show you how to do that as well. But again, let's just talk about getting the tools. Let's head over to the links in the description and we will get started. Let me actually just go to one of my previous videos because I have all of the links in there. And before I actually go and install the software and show you how to set it up, let me actually just talk about what the different links are here first, and then we'll actually get into getting set up with the tool. So first of all, we have the setup service. I'm going to actually mention this now so that way you know. If you ever get too confused and you go, hey, I don't even want to set this up, I just want you to do it for me, we have a setup service. It's $497. The reason why it's $497 is because it takes us a little while to actually go and set up for you, because we have to go and set up your server. We have to set up the licensing. We basically have to do everything that I'm going to show you in this video. And I'll talk more about the setup service at the end. But again, if you ever at any point during this video go, I just want you to set it up for me, you can head over to this link. You can buy the done for you setup, and my team will go set up this whole thing that I'm going to show you today in 24 to 48 hours after you buy. There's a landing page video as well you can watch. It shows you how the whole setup service works, but we'll talk about that later because again, this video is going to show you how to set it up yourself. And again, if you don't want to, you can always get the done for you setup. All right. First thing after the done for you setup, we have GSA website contact. This is the tool we're going to be using. This is the tool we're going to be covering today. And this is how we're going to send messages. So GSA website contact, it's $97. That's just to send messages. If you want to break CAPTCHAs, you're going to get the CAPTCHA breaker as well. That is the next link. And that is actually how you can, when you're sending messages, you can automatically, you know, when you see those things where it says, make sure you're not a robot, this will go and actually do that for you. That is $92. So together they are $189. Proxies, this is what we're going to use so that we're not using our own IP address in the actual messages that we're sending. Because what happens is when we're sending messages through websites, we're going to have to submit those messages with a certain IP address. Proxies helps us not get our main IP address banned. Virtual private server, this is how we're going to connect to another location. Contact form list, this is a list of contact forms so that if you don't want to go find the contact forms yourself, which I will show you how to do, but if you don't want to, you can go buy lists of contact forms as well. Discord group, this is our free Discord group. If you want to join our group so you can ask questions, I'll also leave a link to our free Facebook group as well if you're not on Discord. Go high level, this is another app that works well with GSA because it allows you to capture your leads. That's a 30-day free trial right there. And then some of these other ones, make.com, this is actually for basically getting your leads transferred over to high level from a Gmail account. Mailmeter, this is another way to do it. And then scarytoolbots.com, this is a list of tools that you can actually get paid to promote with affiliate links in your actual messaging. And then this is my cell phone here. If you ever want to text me and reach out to me and ask me any questions, I can't guarantee I'll respond though, because I'm very busy. Okay. Anyways, those are the links. Let's get into each one. So first of all, GSA, what I'd recommend is get website contact at least. If you don't want the capture breaker, don't get it, just cancel it out and at least get the GSA website contact. So when you go grab it and click on checkout. Now there is a free version of this. The free version only helps you find websites. It doesn't let you submit the messages. So I would recommend that you actually buy the license because it will let you send the messages. So you click on checkout, it's going to give you the tool. And then once you have the tool, you're going to install it either on your main computer or you're going to install it on a private server. If you want a private server, what I'd recommend is go to the link here that says VPS. And again, the two options you have, right? If you run it on your computer, it's going to take up resources. If you run it on a private server, you're going to remote desktop connect. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second, but you're going to connect to a server in another location, and then you're going to send the messages from there. That way, if you're sending messages, you can cancel out of that remote desktop and then you can turn off your computer because this computer will be on 24/7. It's not an actual computer that you necessarily own in your location. It's a computer that you basically rent so you can run this somewhere else, okay? I recommend that you do get a private server, and if you do, you're going to go to this link here. You're going to go to Windows VPS, and you're going to get the Ryzen VPS. I think this is the best one. It's $34, $34.95 a month. And once you get this, they're going to send you a login. It's going to come into your email. And then it's going to basically look sort of like this. It's going to have an IP address like that. And then it's going to have your username and your password. Your username is going to be administrator and your password is going to be whatever the password is that they give you. And when you log in, you click on connect, it's going to take you to your server. Okay. Now, when you go to your server, you're not going to have any of this stuff on it. You're not going to have GSA. You're not going to have Capture Breaker. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to install it on here. So you're going to get an email with your licensing key. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to install it on this server by taking the install file, which you can get through your email. You can forward the email to yourself and open up your email on this remote server. You can also drag files over. So if I have a file on my computer that I want to drag over, let me just show you this here. If I go to my desktop, like so, and let's say I want to transfer this file here. Let's say I want to transfer this file. I can copy it by holding Control X. And then I can do Command or Control V and it'll copy it over like that. Okay. So if you have the install file, you can just copy it over like that. And then also, obviously, if you don't have the install file, you can always, open it up via email as well on your server. But remember, this looks like it's my computer, but it's not. If I go up here to the top left and I minimize here or click on the Windows icon, whatever this thing is, the box, I can see that this is a computer in a different location. This isn't my computer. I can exit out of it any time, or if I just full screen, now I'm in a computer in Los Angeles. Okay. So whenever I get the GSA website contact on the computer, I'm going to open it up. And if I got Capture Breaker, I'm going to open that up as well. Okay. Now, all these files right here you're looking at on this desktop, these are all contact forms that we already found in advance. And I'll talk more about this later, but basically what these are okay, let me break this down just really quickly. So we spend months and months and months basically finding websites that have contact forms on them. Okay. There's only so many websites with contact forms on them. And so what we do is we basically scan for them for months on end until we find millions and millions of websites with contact forms. Okay. Now we have probably half of the internet's contact forms. Like, I'm not just making that up. I'm actually serious. There's probably at a given time around 28 million total contact forms on the entire internet. We have about half of them. We have about 14 million. It takes us a really long time to get these. How do we get these? It's a secret sauce. I can't tell you because it's not even my recipe, but a good friend of mine who's been doing this for over 15 years, his name's Ryan. He does this. He's an expert at finding these contact forms, and he sells lists of them. And that's why I mentioned earlier, if you want to buy the contact form lists, you can get 2 million of these for, I think it's $127 monthly. Basically, you get 2 million new contact forms every month. Or if you want the big list, I'll leave another link in the description to the big list, and you can get all 14 million contact forms. I think it's for like $1,000, and then it refreshes every month, but you only pay like $100 a month. Okay. And again, if you're confused about any of this, you're like, Chase, I don't understand what you're talking about. Don't worry, I'll go more in depth, but just know that we have lists of contact forms that you can just load in and send messages to. Now, one of the questions you might ask is, well, what's on these contact? Like, what kind of websites are these? Every website. So every website you could imagine, websites in different countries, websites, with different top level domains like .edu, .gov, like there's so many different websites, but in general, a lot of them are just US websites. Okay. The majority of them are US websites. But anyways, let me just, before we go down the rabbit hole on the contact, because I'm telling you, we could literally be here all day. Like, I'm not kidding. Even though this is the complete guide, I'm just giving you everything you need to know to get started. We could probably be here for an entire month if I like really told you everything. Like it is crazy how deep you can go with this stuff. Okay. And I'm not just saying that to like get you all excited or something. I'm telling you, like, seriously, you can go extremely in depth. I've been doing this, I don't know, for like 2 years now. Ryan's been doing this for close to 15 years now. And we're still learning new stuff pretty much every day. So it's a rabbit hole. Okay. Anyways, let's just talk about getting started. Let's talk about what you got to do to get set up. So when you first start, you're not going to have any of these projects here. There's not going to be anything here. It's just going to be blank. Okay. I'm not going to delete them because I would have to redo all these projects. I don't want to do that. But if I click on new, I'm going to click on advanced. I'm going to just create a project. I'm going to name it number 15 just because I have all these other projects. Click on OK. Now, default, when you start using this tool, it's going to enter in whatever project you put. It's going to say this is the keywords that you're going to use to actually go and scrape websites. And what does that mean? So the tool will allow you to find websites. Okay. So if you want to go find websites listed for, I don't know, SEO, I can click on SEO, click on OK. And then I can click on start and scrape. It's going to start finding websites that are listed for SEO. That have contact forms. The way it does it uses these search engines here. Whatever's selected, I can select or deselect them, and it's going to find websites that are listed for SEO. It's going to find their contact forms, and it's going to allow us to send messages to them. Okay. If I click on add cities here, it's going to let me do local based keywords. So I can do any city in whatever I want. So if I go to US, and I don't even know if wherever it is, US is in here, but I'm not going to spend all my time trying to find it. I'm just going to click on this. So we're going to say cities of SI state Kuzma. I don't know where that is, but you can do all the US cities and states as well. And then here, if I click on use proxies, I want to make sure I have proxies enabled because, again, if you're not using proxies, what's going to happen is you are going to potentially get your IP address banned. And the way this works to use proxies, you click on configure, you click on add, and then you're going to actually add in the proxies that you buy from this link here, my private proxy Here it is. By the way, I'm going to also, if this is way too fast for you, if I'm going way too crazy, I'm going to leave a full step-by-step checklist as well, with line for line, everything you need to do to get started with contact forms. We actually built a full course / checklist that you can buy. And it has all this stuff broken down. So like how to use proxies, how to log into your VPS. It does everything step by step. This is more of an overview on how to get started, because again, if I were to do everything, it would just take me an incredibly long amount of time. So I'm going to give you everything I can in this video, but if you want the full step-by-step guide, I will leave a link, or not step-by-step guide, but full step-by-step course. I'll leave a link as well in the description. So anyways, if I go to my private proxy here and I go to private proxies, now here's another thing you need to know. When you're setting up these contact forms, you need to realize that they run on something called threads. So if I'm going to send out, let's say, if I go to options here and I go to checking and submission, if I want to send out 1,000 messages a second, basically, I would crank this to 1,000. If I want to crank this to 1,000 though, I need to have at least 100 proxies, because the general rule is that every proxy is worth about 10 threads. Okay. So one proxy equals 10 threads. Okay. So if I want to send out, you know, let's say 100 messages or 100 messages a second, I would want 10 proxies. Okay. So for me, because I have so many servers, I'm running anywhere between 500 to 1,000 proxies at a time. If you're going to run one server or one computer and you want to run 1,000 messages a second, ideally you'd want to run about 100 proxies at a time. Okay. If you want to send only 100 messages a second, you run 10 proxies. Okay. So it just depends on how fast you want to send. And again, it just depends on how big you want to go. But ideally, if you wanted to run really fast, you wanted to start out with one server or just, your main computer, you would run about 100 proxies here. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load those proxies in that I get from my private proxy. They give you just like a file. Like here's the file right here. I can click on configure and I can just drag that file in and I have my proxies ready to go. And then I'm just going to enable them here. And then I'm also going to enable them on checking and submission content. So let's talk about what's actually in this app first, because I want to just show you everything, what all these things mean, and then we can kind of talk about running the actual project. Okay. So new here, again, I don't use the wizard. It's just a waste of time. Always do advanced. Save, export. This is if you want to save contact forms that you've ran, export websites. If you want to create a backup, we're not going to do that. Start. This is how you're going to start scraping for websites. And then you can start doing other things as well. You can import URLs like we have here. You can scrape plus check, meaning scrape the websites and then check if they have contact forms. And then you can scrape plus check plus send messages all at the same time. And then you can have a scheduler as well if you want to schedule this stuff out. And usually you're going to use a scheduler if you're going to do multiple projects at a time. Tools. This is how you get to project settings here. This is if you want to import URLs. And a lot of this stuff, by the way, is the same sort of stuff. So like if you right click on this, you're going to get the same thing you're going to get on tools. Okay. If I go to new here, or if I click on project settings, it's going to be the same thing as if I double click on the project. So there's a lot of like the same stuff going on. By the way, it just looks like there's a lot more going on. Duplicate project. This is if I want to duplicate the project, and usually you want to duplicate the project if you have settings already saved in it. Reset status. This is if you want to rerun it with the contact forms that you already have and you don't want to, have to reload the URLs every time. Select. This is if you want to select certain things like, if the contact form failed or not. If it failed, you can export only failures or only success only successful URLs that were sent that we sent messages on. Free memory. I have actually no idea what that is. And I just clicked on it. Didn't do anything. Options here. This is where we can kind of tweak the settings. Like we can increase the size of the user interface. We can send more messages. You don't ever want to go above 1,000 threads. This is your blacklist. This is to make sure you don't contact websites that are blacklisted. If they complain about certain things, this is where you can send an email notification. I never use that. Help, again, I don't really use any of this stuff. So don't worry about it, okay? But most of your time is going to be spent in the actual project. So if I double click on the project here, so again, we're scraping by the keyword SEO. If we want to add more keywords in here as well, we can enter in different keywords like AI and whatever else we want. We can also import keywords if we have a bunch of keywords in our clipboard. And then again, we can add our own URLs if we have our pre-built list of our own URLs. Which is what I would recommend, because for me, I don't want to have to go scrape my own websites, rather just take a pre-built list of URLs I already know work. But again, it is a little bit more expensive. Filter, this is if you want to do any filtering. I'm not going to go into this just because I never use it. Checking here. This is the different types of contact pages that you can actually check. And again, I just leave all this default. Except for, I think this skip sublink parsing for contact forms. And then you use this, you select this only if you're using the pre-built list because it saves time. And then submission content. This is really the most important part here. This is where you're going to actually submit the forms. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to submit messages that are going to generate us leads, right? So first name, you can leave random, last name, you can leave random, or you can specify the name. I don't think it really matters too much. I can just call myself Bob and then last name Willis, or I don't know, whatever I want. If I leave it default, it's just going to select a random last name from this list. Or if I click on self-defined here, it's going to let me choose whatever I want. Let's just do Willis, Bob Willis. I could fill out all these other things. The only real things that it seems like it matters to fill out is first name, last name, email, subject, and message. I wouldn't recommend filling out phone because phone is going to give you a bunch of auto dialers and it's not going to be fun. Now, when you do an email, right, and you switch to self-defined, you want to make sure you're using a burner email. If you use your main email, you're going to get a ton of auto responses. It's not going to be fun. Also, I recommend that you use a Gmail because Gmail has a built-in feature that allows you to filter your leads automatically. And I'll show you how that works in a little bit. But either way, I could just put in, I don't know, test@gmail.com, or, let's just do Bob Willis. I obviously have to make that Gmail, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just showing you this as an example. Subject. So this is going to be whatever I want to say. You see, I can actually do conditional types of messaging as well here. I'm just going to do, attention as the subject line. And I try to keep this stuff as short as possible. So if I'm going to, put a subject line, it's usually going to be 1 to 2 words. If I'm going to do a message, it's probably going to be 1 to 2 sentences. So I'm going to say, hey, I have this thing. I have this free thing for you. Are you interested in it? Okay. Now you can retry to submit if the submission fails for whatever reason, because, there's multiple reasons why a contact form could fail. The page might time out. It might, the caption might not work. There's all kinds of different reasons. So you might want to retry these multiple times if you want to be thorough. If you want to be fast, you just do no retry. And then CAPTCHAs, we need to enable GSA CAPTCHA breaker here. So that way we're breaking the CAPTCHAs. The way we do that, let me just delete this so you can see it, is I click on add GSA CAPTCHA breaker. And then this is how many times I want to retry to break the CAPTCHA if the first one fails. I'm going to put 0 just so we can go fast. And then this is the scheduler. And this is any extra notes you want to add in. Okay. So we got 2 keywords in this project. We got SEO and AI. If I click on start here and I can do scrape plus check, it's going to start finding websites here that, are listed for AI or SEO. You can see it says check. The ones in the green are the ones that have contact forms. The ones in the red are the ones that don't. Okay. If I click on stop here, you can see we found 83 websites with contact forms listed under SEO and AI. And it also had those local parameters that we put in there as well. It looks like we got up to 546 now. Once this is done, and by the way, it kind of takes a little bit for it to finish. Once you start it up, you have to realize that it launches like however many threads you put in it at once. So it launched 1,000 threads. When I stop it, it's basically shutting down all those threads. So sometimes it takes a while. You can also see here all the keywords that are being used. So AI, Kuzma, wherever that is, and then it's showing the search engine that it's using as well to find those pages. Now, if it takes an extraordinarily long time to close, and it doesn't, one of the ways that you can actually close it a lot faster is to just click on Start, Task Manager, and then, just close it out by going End Task and then relaunching it, okay? I have to do that sometimes because this tool is a little wonky. It will crash, and then when it does, I just do that, okay? So it's back up here. I don't know if it's going to keep those websites. We'll see if it does. But either way, what we can do is if it kept the websites, we can click on Start, and then we can start sending messages to those websites by clicking Send to the websites. It looks like it didn't keep it because we closed it before it saved the info. So what we can do instead this time is we can do scrape plus check plus send. So it'll send this message with the subject line with all the fields that we specified, and it'll check for the websites at the same time as well. Now remember, when you're doing this with just the keywords, it's going to take a while for you to reach out to a lot of websites. Okay. So it's a lot faster. You're going to get a way higher success rate, and it's a lot faster for you to actually just use the pre-built contact forms because we already know that these contact forms exist. Now, obviously it's going to be a very general, list of websites, right? It's like 14 million websites that are very general. Now, the downside is that they're general, but the upside is that if you send 14 million messages or even 2 million messages, you're going to get a lot of people that still fall into whatever you're trying to offer, right? So let's say you're offering gold. You're selling gold to people. I don't know why you'd be selling gold, but let's say you were. You could say to the 14 million people, hey, we're selling gold. Are you interested? Now, let's say 13,950,000 people aren't interested. Let's say 50,000 people are. Okay, you still got 50,000 people interested in buying your gold. So what I would recommend is do the pre-built list just because it's faster. But if you don't want to and you want to build your own list, you can always do that as well. I'm not sure why this keeps crashing on me here. It might just be because I'm doing a tutorial while I'm trying to do this. But that actually shouldn't matter because we're on a remote desktop, like I said earlier. I don't know. But either way, let me show you how to load in the pre-built contact forms if you're just going to buy the forms. So what you would do is instead of, going and setting up the project with keywords, you would double click on the project, add URLs, and then you'd add 1 million URLs at a time. You would also make sure that you import against the blacklist, so you're not contacting people on the blacklist. And then you can only do up to 1 million URLs per project. Otherwise, you're going to start running into the tool freezing on you. And if you're going to be sending multiple messages at a time, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million, whatever it is, you have to import it across multiple projects. So the way you do that is you start with project 1, you set up all your settings, whatever you're going to say in project 1, and then you duplicate project 1 so that you keep all the same settings, and then you have project 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on and so on. Then what you do is you import each URL for each project. So if the first million would be project 1, the second million would be project 2, the third million would be project 3, and so on and so on. And I actually think I know why this is crashing. It's because we have 15 projects. The more projects you have in the tool, the more likely the tool is to crash. 14 seems to be fine, but you definitely don't want to try to load in too much. And the tool wasn't even really meant to send this many million at a time. By the way, you can actually send more than 14 million at a time because if you have multiple servers, right? Let's say I have 10 different servers sending 14 million at a time. I could send up hundreds of millions of messages at a time, okay? Anyways, if I go to start, schedule, now I can schedule out these at the same time. I'm going to do send message. We're going to do switch projects. We're going to do 5 projects at a time. Click on start all projects. And now this is going to start sending between the first 5 projects. And when it's done there, it's going to go to the next one, okay? So that's kind of the basics to getting started. And I know I went really quick. I know a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to go, okay, I don't understand any of that. But I'm trying to show you in a nutshell how this works, okay? Once these messages start sending, you can see they're all sending right here. What I can do is I can head over to wherever my Gmail is. Now, I recommend you have some sort of spreadsheet if you're going to try to scale this, okay? Without a spreadsheet, it's very, very hard to track all this. So inside of my spreadsheet, what I have is I have my servers here, all my different IP addresses, my usernames, my logins, what I'm sending messages for, my emails that I'm sending messages from, the subject, and the message that I'm sending, okay? So when these are switched to green, you can see here it says red's not set up, it's not licensed or anything. Yellow's waiting, meaning it's waiting to send, and green means it's sending, which we are sending right now with this one, so I can switch this to green. But basically this allows me to manage multiple servers at a time, right? Where I know, okay, each one of these is sending 14 million each. And whenever these are done, right, I can switch them back to yellow, meaning that it's waiting for the next message that I'm sending. And then I can also hire somebody, right, where if I put in the subject and the message, I can hire somebody to go and actually set these servers up. Now, to set up these servers, again, it takes a long time. Remember how I said we have the done for you setup? My team, I've trained, took me a long time to do, but I trained my team to actually start being able to set up these servers where we set up the licensing, we set up all the contact forms, and we've even built Python scripts that'll actually load in the millions of messages into, the millions of contact forms into each project and duplicates the project and does everything for us. Because again, it takes a long time to do that. But if you don't have your own team, you don't want to have to worry about all of this and worry about doing the setup and everything you're going to have to do. It might be advantageous to you to just go and buy the done for you setup, and we'll just set you up with your server. And really when you set up your server, it's going to look like this. You're going to log in. It's going to have basically this exact setup going. Everything's going to be running. The only thing is that you're going to have 2 million forms instead of 14 million because we throw in the first 2 million. But if you want the other 14 million, we can sell you those as well. Okay. Now, once you start sending the messages, you can log into your actual email and you can see what the responses look like. Now, I'm going to have to do a different tutorial. Remember how I said earlier, I could be here all night. Like, I'm not kidding. I could actually be here all night. By the way, there's other tabs we have in the spreadsheet, like the Gmails. These are our logins, so we can keep track of all of our Gmail logins and our numbers, because you have to use a burner phone numbers to be able to build these Gmail accounts. We have all of our proxies here. And so that's how we track all of this. But let me just really quickly log into this Gmail for the server we just set up so you can actually see what the responses look like. But again, if I were to show you this whole flow, like once you get the leads, how to actually put them into something like Go High Level and put them into an automated sequence and everything else you're going to have to do, again, we would be here literally forever. So instead of me doing that, if you want me to do a part 2 on this and you want to see like how to use High Level and how to use all the things that you're going to need to be able to actually follow up with these leads and everything else, let me know and I'll make a separate video for that. But anyways, if I click on important here, you can see none of these leads are filtered yet. Within Gmail, if I click on settings here, see all, and then I go to the inbox, and then markers. If I click this, save changes, you can see it says, let me go back so you can read that. It says Gmail analyzes these messages to see what's important. Okay. So if I now go to important, this is going to automatically filter the leads. Now in this actual message, the server I just showed you that we set up, we're offering them a free marketing video. Now, when they say, yes, I'd like a free marketing video, we're using our tool, Shinify, which is our app, to actually go and generate them a marketing video for their website. And again, I'd have to do another tutorial on Shinify to show you how to use this tool to actually go and generate videos for them. So you can use AI and ChatGPT to go generate a video. But again, in a nutshell, you can use a tool like this to go and like basically create a video that they can go and buy, and then you can sell them on an affiliate for a tool like this. Okay. But that's the basics to GSA. I, again, will leave all of the resources in the description of this video. And if you want to watch all the different things, I do a ton of case studies. I do a ton of challenges around this tool. You know, can we make money with affiliates? Can we make money with, you know, services? All these different things. I have it all documented on my channel. So feel free to go look at these other videos. But in a nutshell, that's how you use the tool. Can you use other things with it? Most definitely. You can use Scrapebox to find websites. You can use, you know, something like Go High Level to go and automatically respond to all the leads. There are so many different things you can do with this tool. But to start out, that's how you use it. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And if you want to see part 2, let me know. But that's it for today. And if you want to grab the done for you setup, again, I will leave a link in the description. If you don't want to have to figure all this stuff out yourself, just go buy the setup and I'll do it for you. Okay. That's it. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next one. Until we do, happy money making. We'll see you. Bye.